You've already indicated that following the events of January 28th and 29th, you have spoken extensively with your family and your friends, members of your family and your friend group about what happened that night, correct?
Yes.
And that includes Brian and Nicole Albert, is that right?
Yes.
That includes Matt McCabe, your husband, correct?
Yes.
That includes Chris and Julie Albert?
Yes.
Includes other people that were there that night, including Brian Higgins?
I haven't spoken to Brian Higgins since, I believe, John O'Keefe's wake.
But you did speak to him that morning at 34 Fairview, is that correct?
Yeah. Oh, yes, he was there, yes.
As a matter of fact, he's the one that told you to call Officer Lank back and have Officer Lank come back for the additional statement that you wanted to give Officer Lank. Is that right?
He may have suggested it, I'm not sure.
So in those discussions that you've had with all these folks, you've talked to the details about that night being at the bar, the house, who was where, all of those things, correct?
Yes.
You've talked about the timing of the night, who arrived, when people arrived at 34 Fairview, when people arrived at Waterfall Bar and Grill, correct?
No, those really aren't details we discuss. I mean, everybody kind of knows when they came and when they left. We talk more about, you know, living with everything that we've gone through.
Well, what about on the morning of January 29th, when everybody was still in that sort of friends and family gathering inside 34 Fairview?
When I was there with my husband and sister and brother-in-law and, you know, then Brian's friend and Julie Albert, I was trying to piece together what had happened. They were all being supportive. They had no idea what happened. We were just kind of sitting there in utter shock, waiting to hear from Kerry about John. It was nothing more than just us being together and trying to figure out what had happened. I had gotten a phone call from Karen to help her.
And
here's
during
where I am.
during that conversation, or that series of conversations, you were sharing what your observations of that evening were, what your story was, how the evening started, how it ended for you, correct? Or the morning ended for you, correct?
No, not correct.
During the time that you folks were inside the house discussing this, there was no law enforcement agent or officer inside that house, correct?
Correct.
So the entire family and the friend network that we're talking about, with whom you discussed all these events, everybody was entitled to and did coordinate their statements without any separation and without any law enforcement oversight, correct?
I was with my family. My sister, my brother-in-law. It wasn't really a big group of us. As I've mentioned, I had 5 or 6 people. I was in shock. I didn't know what had happened. They were just asking me what happened,
And
questions like that, and I absolutely told them. But
Okay.
it was no story. There was no us being allowed to do it. That was my family. They were just there with me.
But nobody was separated by law enforcement, correct?
I don't believe there was a reason to separate us.
Nobody. Well, notwithstanding what you think was the reason, you're not a professional investigator, correct?
I'm not, no.
You're not a trained investigator.
No,
You're certainly not a homicide detective, correct?
no.
None of you witnesses were ever separated, were you, that morning?
There was no reason to separate us.
I'm not asking you if there was a reason, Mr. McCabe. I'm asking you whether or not factually anybody was separated in that house. Or was everybody allowed to talk amongst themselves?
I was with my family. We didn't need to be allowed.
Okay. Let me try this again. Was anybody in that house separated? Were the witnesses separated from each other? The family, who are witnesses, were they separated from each other? By law enforcement.
At that point, I don't think anyone but myself and Matt were maybe even witnesses.
Okay. I'm not asking you what your determination of who the witnesses are. I'm asking you whether the folks in that house were separated by law enforcement before you were able to have discussions about the events of January 28th and 29th. That's a yes or no question. Were you separated or not?
At one point, when Mike Lank was in the house, he had separated and talked to Nicole, then Brian, then Matt.
And then he promptly left and left everybody in the house together, correct?
He left us, yeah.
Right. Nobody was taken down to the station, is that right?
No?
As a matter of fact, Trooper Proctor didn't even come over to 34 Fairview, the scene of the incident, to interview you, correct?
I asked him to meet at my house because I had to go home to my children.
And he accommodated you, didn't he?
He did, yes.
And he accommodated the fact that Brian Albert escorted you to the house for your interview, correct?
Brian didn't escort me, no.
Well, he went to your house at the same time that Trooper Proctor was there to interview you, correct?
He came at some point, yes, by himself.
Before Trooper Proctor did the interview?
I'm not sure if he was there, if he got there before or when he arrived.
You've testified in the past that
Yes.
Brian Albert came to your house alone. I don't mean you came in the same car.
Yes.
They followed you over to your house before Trooper Proctor ever got there. And he was in the house while Trooper Proctor conducted his interview, correct?
Yes, Brian was
All
in
right.
the house for the interview.
Thank you. You've already indicated that you have been discussing this case with certain other witnesses, not for days or weeks or months, but literally for years, most specifically Kerry Roberts, correct?
The case in general, yes.
Just before Kerry Roberts testified at a grand jury proceeding in this case, you were with her, weren't you?
I don't recall what you're talking about.
Do you remember being at the grand jury?
Yes,
Do you remember testifying at the grand jury?
yes, the one back in
April. I
April.
think,
Yes, yes,
2022.
yes.
That sounds
Yeah, it sounds about right. Yeah,
You remember being there in an anteroom with some other folks?
what's an anteroom?
An anteroom, a waiting room?
Oh, yeah.
Waiting for your testimony?
Yes,
You remember Kerry Roberts being with you in that exact same anteroom?
yes,
And that was right before her testimony, correct?
I believe so. Yes,
So, in answer to my question, you two were together literally just before she testified at the grand jury, which was the first formal under oath testimony that she ever gave. Is that right?
yes.
When she testified at the grand jury, was that before or after you two had gotten together and created this timeline?
We did the timeline right after John had passed.
So she testified, the answer is she testified after the timeline was created, correct?
Yes,
Brian Albert and his family had a dog on January 29th, 2022, did they not?
yes, they did.
What was that dog's name?
Chloe,
What kind of dog was Chloe?
German Shepherd.
Was it do you know if it was a purebred German Shepherd or a mix of Malinois and German Shepherd, or do you know?
I have no idea.
Big dog,
Yeah, good sized dog. Yeah,
70-pounder.
I don't know its weight.
Wasn't a little munchkin dog, though. It was
No,
a full-size German
it's
Shepherd.
a full size. Yeah,
On the morning that you described going into the house, January 29th, 6:40 a.m. or so, you indicated that you burst into the bedroom to wake your sister and Brian Albert. Is that right?
yes, I went into the bedroom.
It's still dark out, correct?
Yes,
There had been relative chaos on the lawn for a number of minutes, from about 6:10 until at least 6:40. When we went in, there were still emergency vehicles with lights on and engines running, and chaos, relative chaos, bedlam, as somebody has said, on that front lawn, correct?
was more on their side lawn and down the street, kind of like all the cruises. A lot of them were behind their lot.
Right in front of 34 Fairview, correct?
To the side, in the side yard of 34 Fairview. Yes,
And on the lawn of 34 Fairview,
yes,
where first responders were responding, correct?
yes,
And you said my client was screaming to the top of her lungs, is that right?
yes. She was.
And Kerry Roberts was screaming back at her,
Yes,
shut up or shut the fuck up, right?
yes,
Yeah. Then at 6:40 a.m., under the cover of darkness, you walked in the front door of the unlocked front door of Brian Albert's house, correct?
I went into my sister's house. Correct.
It wasn't Brian Albert's house?
And Brian Albert. Yes, I'm
Right.
sorry.
You then climbed the stairs up toward the bedrooms, correct?
Yes,
You walked into the bedroom door where Brian Albert and Nicole Albert, according to you, were sleeping. Is that
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
So you would agree that you unexpectedly, in terms of their view, unexpectedly walked into their house basically in the middle of the night, middle of the morning.
Yes.
You indicated that when you went through their bedroom door, you sort of burst through, correct?
I opened the door. I don't know if I used the word burst.
You previously indicated that when you went through the door, it was chaotic because you were so amped up from the events. Is that right?
I don't know if I used those words.
Would you say that you were loud or quiet?
I think as I explained earlier, I was like where everything was going on around me, and I was kind of like in just a state of shock. And I remember thinking, I don't want to startle them, but I have to wake them up, because obviously when I wake them up, they're going to be panicked and think something terrible happened.
Well, why didn't you want to startle them? Something terrible had happened.
I didn't want to give them a heart attack when I woke them up.
But you didn't walk up and just nudge them and say, hey, Nicole, honey, can you wake up? There's something we need to talk about. You didn't do that.
No, I was like, Brian, Nicole, wake up, wake up.
Okay, exactly. But you weren't saying it in that voice either. You were saying, Brian, Nicole, get up.
I'm not sure if it was that loud, but I definitely was. Definitely like trying to wake them up. Yes.
What was the dog's reaction?
I don't recall seeing the dog.
So, according to you, to the dog at least, if we can get in the mind of a dog, a relative stranger walks in the front door, climbs a set of stairs, the house is completely dark, walks into a bedroom door and starts barking. The person starts barking, get up, wake up, Brian, Nicole. And you don't remember seeing or hearing a dog at all.
Objection.
Sustained.
As you indicated, it's not that the dog wasn't reactive, it's that you don't remember the dog even being there, correct?
I have no memory of the dog, no.
But you do know that that dog sleeps in Brian and Nicole's room, correct?
It may, I don't know for sure.
The reason you don't remember the dog being there is because the dog wasn't there, was it?
I don't remember the dog.
Right. So when you walked out of the room, when you walked in the house, didn't see the dog?
No,
When you walked up the stairs, no dog?
no,
Walked down the hallway, no dog?
no.
Walked into Brian and Nicole's bedroom door, no dog?
I don't remember seeing the dog.
I realize that. Dog or no dog? No dog.
I don't remember seeing the dog. It doesn't mean it wasn't there or it was there. I just don't remember seeing it.
Well, no dog came up to you and barked at you, correct?
No,
You didn't see or hear a dog whining or howling, did you?
no,
You didn't hear or see a dog scratching at the door?
no.
There's no sign of a dog at all in Brian and Nicole Albert's house at 6:41 a.m. when you walked into that house, correct? Or 6:40?
I don't remember seeing the dog.
And this was a 70-pound German Shepherd, correct?
I don't know the weight of the
Have
dog.
you ever heard a description given about that dog by Brian Albert, anybody else, that dog was not good with strangers?
I object.
Sustained.
Did you know, as you said, you're very, very dear friends, and obviously dear friends with Brian Albert, relations with Nicole Albert, your sister. Are you aware that that dog was not good with strangers?
Object.
Do you know that?
I don't. It wasn't good with other dogs is what I knew, so I could never bring my dog over there. That's all I know about the dog.
Right. Had some aggression, correct? At least with other dogs.
Possibly.
Possibly with other dogs. Is
Yeah.
That's our next question.
Thank you, Your Honor. If you could remind the jurors, in your memory, who was the last person to leave the house at 34 Fairview on the morning of the early morning hours of January 29th?
I believe Caitlin left after us, my niece.
Thank you. at some point, we've already talked a little bit about this. You said you looked out the front door glass. Was it a window or is the whole door glass?
The whole door was glass, I believe.
Is it like and pardon my ignorance, is there like a wooden door that is opened and there's a storm door that's all glass that was closed? Is that what we're dealing with?
I believe so, yes. Yeah,
Okay.
that sounds about right.
Mm-hmm. Can we take one more glance? I'm going to back up for a quick second.
Okay.
Can we take one more glance at that exhibit 3 with the court's permission?
Okay.
Thank you. And can you enhance that just a little bit, please? Thank you so much. May I approach?
Yes.
Forgot to ask you, and I apologize, Ms. McCabe.
Thank
One
you.
more point of reference. Can you please show the jurors where Brian and Nicole Albert's bedroom window is in that photograph?
Sure, it's right there.
Upper left window, uppermost left window, correct?
Yes.
Thank you. May I approach?
Yes.